What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, and today I am super excited to bring you the full deck analysis of Marincess, the deck I showcased last week. Want to do a bit of a deck guide for this. I will go ahead and talk through just the updated deck that I had the chance to mess with at my local OTS trophy tournament yesterday and got first place. Really excited to share that little update with you, as well as just some of the math behind the deck, a few of the unique interactions, the combos, and at the end I have a nice live match against a spicy tier variant that my friend was on. But we want to make sure that we honor our new subs of the channel first, so I'll go ahead and give a shout out to them. Sean, Michael, Mario, Kwame, Cody, Cog, Sod, Airy, Ponch, Roller, Graham, Ricardo, Railgun, Taloxor, Marcellus, Raccoon, and Amon. Thank you all so much for joining the channel. If you would like to be a part of the next sub shout out, just make sure your subscriptions are public when you subscribe so I know who you are and I can include you in that. It really does help the channel when you subscribe and like. Definitely turn on that bell so you are notified every single time, but I won't waste any more time. We'll go ahead and hop straight into it. Okay, I want to take a little bit of time just to touch on the updated deck profile I had the chance to use and win my local OTS trophy tournament just yesterday. A little bit has changed from the prior build. I do have a side-by-side of the two screenshots here on Dueling Books, so you can see the difference. Mainly the change was with board breakers. I have a picture also of the physical deck profile that I used right here on screen. The main thing I had changed was I added in some droplets and some evenlies, absolutely nuts blowout cards. I wanted some stuff that did a little bit more and definitely came in clutch. I still have a few ideas of what to change for my upcoming regional in a week, but I just wanted to go ahead and showcase it. But overall, again, main things didn't change, but still really happy to see amazing and continued success with the deck. But with all that said, we'll go ahead and hop into the next piece. Okay, and the next piece I want to talk about is just two things. One is a line of play that maybe you're not thinking about that might yield you to a new tech card that also is a little bit cheaper in the form of Evenly Matched. Also recently released as a reprint in the Maven set, as well as the new card in Darkwing Blast, Zealantis. I want to talk about Zealantis. Most of you are familiar with the effect that it can banish all monsters on the field and then special summon them back. This just helps it get better link arrows and better co-links so you can have the pop effect in the battle phase. But the even better effect is utilizing it in the deck with Marincess with Coral Anemone. If you're unfamiliar with Coral Anemone, it has a restriction that after you've used its effect for the remainder of the turn, you can only special summon water monsters. So when you use Zealantis effect later by climbing into it, by banishing all monsters on the field and then special summoning them back, it will only special summon waters. It'll only bring them back to both sides of the field if they are water. Meaning if your opponent has a board of Dragostapelia, Elf, Jet, whatever, anything that's not water will not come back. And the main reason is because you're the one that's special summoning. You're the one that triggers Zealantis' effect. So you do not have the right to special summon the waters back. So you'll just get back everything but waters. So if you're going up against a deck that doesn't have waters on the board at that given time, Zealantis is just essentially like a really good board wipe. So that's the first thing I want to highlight. And the second one I want to highlight is convincing people that Evenly Matched is absolutely amazing. This card did so much work for me at my trophy tournament just the other day. The main thing I want to encourage people to do is just remind them that you don't necessarily have to go for the field spell. Exploit Sleepy Maiden as much as you can if you end on Aqua Argonaut plus Sleepy Maiden plus either hand traps or back row that you have that are chainable. This is going to force your opponent to play through so many interruptions. They're going to kill all your stuff. Coral Anemone is going to add back one of your one card starters in the form of follow-up like Blue Tang. And then from there you can just evenly clean up right in the battle phase because you don't have anything face up on the field. That's something I've been doing quite a lot and typically only committing to the field spell after I've resolved evenly, or if I know evenly is not necessarily that possible in that game state or it's not that big of a board, I won't bother with it. But I will say that card has been absolutely insane. If you have not tested it in the deck, I highly encourage you do. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and hop into three combos. I'm going to talk about each of our starter slash extenders. The first one being a Blue Tang. We'll start with our best one and work our way down. So we're just going to go ahead and put everything else back except for our Blue Tang. We will then normal the Blue Tang, use its effect to foolish the Sleepy Maiden, go into the Blue Slug to add back the Sleepy Maiden. From there we will use its effect to special summon it to the board. And then from there we'll go ahead and make Coral Anemone, use its effect to bring back Blue Tang. I have waited to use Blue Tang's Excavate effect until here, so we're going to go ahead and link that away into our Sea Angel. The main reason is Blue Tang can then be chain link 2 to chain block our Sea Angel, excavating 3, and then adding the dive from our deck to our hand. It's important to note that I am not going to add anything off Blue Tang. We're going to assume we hit nothing, just to make sure the combo is as pure as possible and focuses on the one card aspect. From there, we're going to go ahead and link those two away into a coral triangle. Then we will use the anemone to add back the sleepy, use triangle, discarding it to add wave, and then from there using dive to go ahead and bring back anything, in this case blue tang, and then we'll go ahead and link all those off into our aqua argonaut, and then we'll use sleepy maiden engrave, banishing itself to banish and equip the coral anemone. This is as best as it gets. Off of one card you have a spell trap negate and an imperm at any point that makes all of your stuff on the board unaffected by card effects for the rest of the turn. And now we'll go ahead and move on to the next combo. Okay, and for our next combo, we're going to focus on both Spring Girl and Seahorse. These are both unique other starters because they themselves are ones that will get you essentially, they pay for 2 for 1. They're going to get themselves twice. They're going to be a normal summon and then they're going to be an extender later on in the combo. The only difference here is you're not going to have access to Sleepy Maiden, so you have the way to get to the Link 4, and you have a way to get to Wave, but you just don't have a way to equip. So you're going to go for Bubble Reef ideally instead with a live Wave. So we'll showcase that. We'll start off with Seahorse first, link it into Blue Slug, use that effect to add back Seahorse, and then from there you will special the Seahorse to your field. And then get rid of that for Sea Angel, and then use that to add the dive. There is unfortunately no way to chain block here, but we're still going to keep doing what we can. We'll get rid of those two to make Coral Anemone, use that effect to bring back the Seahorse, and then get rid of both of those for a Coral Triangle. We'll go ahead and use the Anemone engrave to add back the Seahorse, and then we'll discard that with Coral Triangle's effect to add the Wave. And then from there, we'll go ahead and use the dive to bring back the Seahorse and get rid of both of those into our Great Bubble Reef. So that's our first combo with Seahorse. Again, Springle is here just because we're going to showcase the combo second, so just pretend that's not in the hand during this combo. But again, you're ending on Bubble Reef, which is essentially a Heat Soul every turn, plus your Wave to make things unaffected. And this in and of itself will have follow-up by being able to special summon water monsters that you banish back to your field. So what we will do now is put all that back and go ahead and start with our next combo for Spring Girl. We'll go ahead and put everything back, and then we will lead with our normal summon Spring Girl and then link that away into a Sea Angel, using Sea Angel's effect to add dive. A little bit different way to do the combo, but you are going to get to the exact same result, using dive to get rid of both of those for Coral Anemone. Anemone's effect will activate, bringing back the Spring Girl. You'll get rid of that for the Blue Slug, and then use that to add back the Spring Girl because we've not used her effect yet. From there, we'll use Spring Girl, banishing the Sea Angel, specialing itself, and now it's very important that you link away that and the Anemone to make your Coral Triangle so that you can use Anemone to add back Spring Girl, and that will be your discard for Coral to add the Wave. And then from there, it's the same. You just link away our last 2 remaining cards to get our Great Bubble Reef. So that's our kind of mid-level starters, and then we'll talk about Pascalis and Mandarin next. Okay, for our last combo, we're going to focus on both Pascalis and Mandarin. Whichever one you open does not matter. In this case, the combo line will be the exact same. I just have them here to showcase that. I'm going to put Mandarin off to the side just so that we don't really think it's in our hand. We'll start by normaling the Pascalis, making Sea Angel, using that effect to add a dive from our deck to our hand. Using dive, bring back Pascalis, and then from there what we will do is link both of those into Splash Mage. This is where this comes up. A lot of people ask, why do I play Splash Mage? Where does it fit in? This is one of those pieces here. You use it because it's a target that can be brought back from Coral Anemone, and it's the only way by using either Mandarin or Pascalis as a 1-card combo to get to your Link 4. So we'll use Splash Mage effect, bring back the Pascalis, get rid of both of those for Coral Anemone, and then we'll use Coral Anemone, bring back the Splash Mage, get rid of both of those for a Great Bubble Reef, and then from there you can use the Coral Anemone to either add back your Pascalis or the dive that you searched, or if you started with Mandarin, Mandarin instead. And I'm not going to show Mandarin because that will look the exact same. So that's all for the combos. Let's go ahead and hop into the next piece. Okay, and to wrap it up, I have a video here of a live duel between myself on the Marincess build that I showcased last week. I hadn't changed anything yet, against a spicy version of Tearlament. My friend is on Tearlament, Therian, Sprite, all 3 combined together. He's on, I think, about 45 to 50 cards, somewhere in there. But I'm going to go first, and unfortunately, we hit the small chance of not seeing a name. But we're going to go ahead and Cosmic Cyclone away that disc. We just don't want to see a negate hit the field before he starts committing to all those tier and sprite plays. We still want to try to be able to interact as much as we can. From there, he's going to lead with the best normal summon in the deck, Rhino Heart. I just feel like we should shotgun imperm that and hope for the best. Of course, Scream is going to have him mill 3, and we were lucky he did not hit any names, thankfully very much. So he's just going to poke for the quick attack from Rhino Heart, and then I believe he's just going to pass it over, so we draw for a turn. And then thankfully we do hit a name. We're going to go ahead and summon the Mandarin. The worst name, one of at least, to draw, but it doesn't matter because it's still combo and it still clears stuff. He's going to trigger Scream on our summon and thankfully still miss. Hits Endless Engine though, not necessarily a great thing to see because that gives him good follow-up. But we're going to link into Sea Angel and do the basic combo that I showed with Pascalis and Mandarin, trying to hunt for that dive as a way to link climb. He is going to though respond with a Ash Blossom. And then we're going to go ahead and tactics, dig a little bit deeper, hopefully see some pieces. And I believe, thankfully, we do. We do hard draw the dive, so really, really good there. Bring back that Mandarin, link both of those away into a copy of our Coral Anemone, I think, or sorry, Splash Mage first, right? Because we want to make sure we get to that link 4. So we'll go ahead and use that Splash Mage, bring back the Mandarin. And then from there, we'll go ahead and be able to link both of those away into a Coral Anemone that will let us keep climbing. Of course, he's going to trigger Hobness here, though, to try to slow us down. Thankfully, again, we get lucky on those mills. Just lucky here, and it just depends, I guess. But so we go for Coral Anemone, bring back that Splash Mage. We're going to be able to link climb and then have a little bit of follow-up in the form of Mandarin, at least as a normal summon, and then ideally a special summon later down the line. So we're going to go ahead and we do have the Sleepy Maiden, which is good to help clean things up just a little bit. So we'll get that Sleepy Maiden on board. And then from there, what we are going to go ahead and do after we clean some things up is we're going to think about our options for just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and link those two off into a copy of our Marbled Rock in this case. We just want follow-up in terms of dive. We might already have hard open the wave is what my guess is. I'm not 100% sure. But nevertheless, we are just going to basically, we want big bodies on board. We want to run over both things before they have a chance to then use them for follow-up on the next turn. So we're going to go ahead and special the Mandarin here. Just want extra bodies on board. And we're going to go ahead and link those two off with the Coral Anemone to get into our Coral Triangle. And then from here we can go ahead and add back the Sleepy Maiden, I believe. Or no, I guess we're just going to battle. We might have already added it back, I'm not sure. Or like I said, if we already hard opened the wave, then we're just linking Coral Triangle so that we have a good body engraved so that we have follow-up. So that looks like what the play is going to be. So we're going to get rid of those two. And then we are going to make, if Sleepy Maiden is still in our grave, then we should go for the Aqua Argonaut, which we do. We'll go ahead and banish that to equip, meaning we do have the wave in our hand. So we do at least have a Spell Trap negate, a Monster negate, keeping us unaffected, and follow-up thanks to whatever Coral Anemone can add back, as well as what Coral Triangle can special summon back on the following turn. And with that, we just pass it over. Taking a look at grave stuff, just seeing what resources are available for both him to use and what I potentially might need to stop. Maybe telegraphing a DD Crow a little bit too hard here, but nevertheless, I think it's always good to just check after they do. So they're going to Endless Engine to try to add back Disc. That's going to essentially put their entire Therian stuff online, again giving them negates as well as follow-up before they even commit. So we're going to DD Crow the engine. You want to hit that engine just because, again, they could just try to do it the following turn with a different target. Engine is what lets you add back, so we'll just get rid of that. From there, they have the Shiren, so they're going to go and activate the Shiren, pitch an Ash, and then mill 3. See how they get here. They hit Hobness, and then they're going to Scream, mill 3 more, obviously, in a new chain. And we're just thinking here if it's actually worth to wait or do it now. I'm thinking on chain links of if he wants to try to chain block Hobness or Scream, but we're going to go ahead and Fusion Summon here. We're going to get 2 Hobness back, obviously into the boy himself, Kit Kalos. one of the best cards ever printed in the game, especially for this archetype. And then we're milling 3 more. Good thing we did not let that engine resolve. There's a ton of Therian names, so just trying to really keep them off those negates when that happens. So, but we are going to try to Marincess Wave to imperm that Kit Kalos on the summon effect. So hopefully that will get us somewhere, but thinking on the Rhino Heart target, I'm going to send another Shiren. And triggering the Shiren, getting rid of both itself and the other one. To summon out a Garura. Just wants the extra link body as well as the draw. Definitely a really solid card here. And then you're going to see a really insane play coming up here. This is, he's going to first get out another Rhino Heart. Through the kit play, milling 5 does hit the Merly by using the Rhino Heart and Graves effect. And we're negating a spell here with Coral Anemone spell trap effect. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing. I think it was just one of the spell traps he milled. There's not much value we're going to get out of it otherwise, so might as well do it here. And we're going to see Rukalos come down. Insane card. Not like this deck needed to be insulated from Nib anymore, but than they already are, but I guess they got that too. But you're going to see Dark Charmer come down, and unfortunately this is where DD Crow is the unfortunate piece here. So I've thought about in testing over the past couple of days to change that for maybe just a couple of Bystials, maybe a 3 Druis Worm or a Magnamoot couple Druis Worm, something like that. Not that they can't just run over it, but at the very least it helps prevent stuff like this from happening, because now they have full sprite combo linking into Elf and then Blue and then Jet and then Smashers, and it just gets out of hand from there. The other thing that they can do to you is Dark Charmer makes it a lot easier for them to get free bodies on board to make Underworld Goddess to link away your stuff as well. That's kind of a big way that you'll see the unaffected Aqua Argonaut or Bubble Reef or just the big boys in general get outed, is by making that Underworld Goddess. That's going to go ahead and come down right here because again they're not locked into anything, since only Starter and Gigantic are what locks you. So that's very, very unfortunate. Wave keeps them unaffected by card effects. Of course, Underworld Goddess is a summoning condition, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, thinking of maybe the Bystials, because in reality, you only need to lock yourself into waters for that very first turn with a card like Coral Triangle to resolve that search for Wave. After that, you don't really care, and a lot of times you're specialing on your opponent's turn anyway, so just having that extra body that is not a Dark in the Grave feels really, really good. So maybe a concession to change before my local regional the following week from today. So basically that pretty much wraps it up, and that's going to lead us into game 2. Okay, leading off with game 2, we open the Mandarin again. How funny, ridiculous that one of is just what hits our hand, but that's why we know the Marincess combos, because each card is a 1-card combo. But we do have the Seahorse, basically trying to use that as a way to play around any hand traps. Should they have Imperm the Blue Slug, then we have the ability to keep extending with that Seahorse. So we're going to go ahead and get the Sea Angel to then try to search a spell from our deck to our hand. We're going to go ahead and add Dive here. And then from there, we're thinking on our plays. We're going to go ahead and special the Mandarin just because we can. We have 2 Marincess monsters on board and a zone for it to plop to, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll make Anemone using that effect of Anemone to go ahead and bring back the Seahorse. That's going to get hit with Ghost Bell. That's really fine. We have everything else we need because we already had the second extender in form of Dive. So if Ghost Bell was going to happen, it should have happened a lot earlier. But again, it's hard to know when to hand trap this deck because every card is also an extender. You don't know how many extenders they have. It's just this deck plays through hand traps so well, and just it makes it feel like a -1. So it's amazing. So we're going to link into that Coral Triangle, adding back the Seahorse off an enemy, then discarding it to get back the Wave. From there, we're going to finish shuffling up, add those to our hand, And then from there, what we're going to go ahead and do is just kind of think about options for a second, and then we're going to link those two off, banishing the Mandarin, of course, by its own effect, to make a copy of Bubble Reef, our water heat soul. And then from there, we're going to set to, and we are just going to pass. So this may not look like a lot, but our secret face downs here are a Dimensional Barrier and a Cosmic Cyclone, just so you know. And then we're going to go ahead and banish that Blue Slug to draw a card, boost it by a couple of points, a little bit like 600 there, and hopefully draw into another hand trap. And we're going to, our opponent's going to think for a minute here. And you're seeing us flip D-Barrier because our opponent tried to enter battle phase. So we let him go ahead and enter battle phase and just activate D-Barrier, calling Fusion. So now it's cool, nice 1-for-1. And everything is turned off. So we managed that Cosmic face down, which is whatever. They're going to go ahead and use, thinking on if they just want to even use Shyren. They've kind of committed to it right now, but they're thinking if they actually want to bother using the effect, or if they're just going to decide to just normal it or set it. So they're just going to normal that Shyren, set to, and pass. D-Barrier Floodgates, what can I say? Turn stuff off really, really well. So we're going to draw for turn here, and then we're going to standby phase, go ahead and use that Bubble Reef, thinking on what our target is going to be here, and then we're going to banish. We're leaving the counter on, so it's just going to go back up to 3,200, drawing another card. That's the nice thing about this deck. This board looks unassuming, but my god, we have like 6-7 cards in our hand to our opponent's like 3. We're just in such a good position right now. So what we're going to go ahead and do first here, after thinking through a few options, is we're just going to normal summon the Blue Tang. We did draw it. We had the chance to draw 3 cards over the last couple of turns. So they're going to flip, I believe that's Sulik. It's the Imperm trap for tier element. So they're going to negate, they're going to send the Shyren, and they're going to try to trigger the Shyren Engrave. We're going to let that go. They're going to shuffle back 2, and then they're going to summon out from the extra deck a Kit Kalos. Activating Kit Kalos, we're going to Mourner on summon. Even though they chain the Scream, it doesn't really matter because we can still do Mourner as 3, which is really, really good. Or sorry, not Scream. We're just going to go ahead and use the Mourner. That's why it matters here. Cards like that you can play on either turn are very, very important. But we're going to link the Blue Tang off into the Sea Angel. Chain blocking the Sea Angel, of course, with the Blue Tang Excavate effect. That's why we wait. Go ahead and activate the field spell. You can't see it, but it is off to the screen, just making sure that that is known. From there, we're going to activate Dive, and this time we're going to special from the deck. So we're going to get out a Spring Girl. We've not seen one of those yet, so it's a really great extender that we can always add back with a card like Blue Slug. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to link that off and special the Blue Slug out onto the board, and then we'll go ahead and trigger the Blue Slug, adding that back. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and link 2. Just debating on what we're going to pick here. We are going to go ahead and go for the Splash Mage. We want to climb into another Link 4. Ideally, we want the field spell plus both Link 4s with a bunch of equips, pushing for a lot of damage here, if not game. Actually, it will be game just because ideally we're going to run over that Mourner, that Kit Kalos as well, and that Mourner is going to do a good amount of work for damage. So we're going to go ahead and use that field spell effect to equip 3. So now we have a 3,400 Bubble Reef and I believe a 4,300 Aqua Argonaut after we resolve and add back with Coral Anemone. So we're going to go ahead and equip 3. And then we also have the Wave in hand as follow-up, plus additional interrupts and hand traps. So we're just going to go to battle. They're going to concede, and we'll go ahead and move on to game 3. Okay, playing into game 3 here. Our opponent is going to lead with both Scream and Instant Fusion. What a combo! Absolutely nuts. So they're going to go ahead and kit. I believe here they're thinking kind of how they want to do all these mills, but we're going to go ahead and try to Mourner on the kit just to be safe. They still get to mill a few with Scream, but they don't hit anything, thankfully. Really just want to try to keep them off of those effects triggering. And now if they try to climb or do anything else with that kit, they're going to burn, which helps us get a little bit of chip damage in and make the work a little bit less hard on our end on the follow-up. From there, our opponent does have the extender in the form of Shyren, pitching the Rhino Heart, absolutely insane. Milling 3 only hits the trap, not really that great, but still going to resolve some chains here, which does still get them the combo that they want, which is very, very unfortunate for us. But they're going to add the Hobness, and then bring back the Rhino Heart, pitching the Hobness, and then triggering the Hobness in the grave, putting back it and another to go ahead and the Kit Kalos to make a Rue Kalos, which, as ugly as this looks, the Mourner really did help do quite a lot, because right now technically we are really only staring down one interrupt in the form of Rukalos, as well as then possibly whatever they mill or fusion into. So definitely a doable game state right now. Gonna go ahead and use Merly's effect. They had the Merly all along. Really, really nuts. Gonna go ahead and mill 3. Again, whiffing. Really, really lucky on our part, but it's doing what they need, is filling their grave with those Therians for that insane level of follow-up. They're gonna go ahead and link into a Sprite Elf. Now they have full Sprite combo. We are going to imperm that Elf, trying to keep them off as much as we possibly can. And we're just hoping that that imperm Mourner is going to be enough, at least to get us to our turn and make a manageable game state. And thankfully, it seems like that is going to be the case. We're just fixing up some life totals here. Kikalos did leave the field, so we're just making sure we rectify that and getting that mandatory 2300 damage in there. Just digging through their graveyard, seeing if they have any other options. Ideally, it doesn't seem like it. I don't think they have any other plays they can make unless they want to link summon anything like that. We're just checking Merly just to see how that's going to trigger on our turn when he gets back to us. So we're going to go ahead and draw. They pass. We're dealing with mainly Rukalos plus whatever mills they get. So this is pretty doable. We're going to try to enter battle phase. That was why they used Elf, because we did go into main phase. Milling a bunch of names. They do hit a lot, but thankfully it's not really going to matter because whatever they put up, there's no spell trap negate that they can fuse into with tier right now. So they're just going to put up an extra body, and then we still get to evenly clean it up. And then from there, we should be in a pretty good position. So they're just thinking what they can want to put back to help mitigate as much damage, get some names back in deck to hopefully hit in the follow-up. And they're going to throw out a Dragostapelia, I believe. Nope, a Garura. They want more follow-up in terms of draws. Oh no, they're just still resolving, continuing the fusion. Yep, getting Garura, finishing off chain links, thinking here for a second. And then they're going to go ahead and plop down. I believe it is going to be Dragostapelia. Yep, there it is. Now we can proceed to our battle phase. We can evenly clean it up. I think they're going to end on pretty much everything but Rukalos. Yep, keeping the Rukalos around. That still has a chance to trigger something depending on what's left in their hand. At the very least, it's still a body that we're going to have to deal with since we don't have a battle phase, even if we can play through it. Does negate and destroy, and can use itself, and can bring back itself. So a little bit annoying, but we have some room to play, thankfully. Evenly really coming in clutch in the side, and definitely a card that I have become a huge fan of maining now, since you can focus on wave to be unaffected and not have to end on the field spell, keeping evenly live. We're going to lead with Signet Mining, a very powerful start, discarding Pascalis to have the follow-up. We're just thinking on the target here. We're just thinking on their interrupt, what can we add that's going to give us the most ability to push through that one Rukalos, just because most of our cards were interaction to stop them. We don't have much wiggle room. We're just going to go ahead and grab the best normal summon in the deck. We're going to grab that blue Tang. And we're going to summon it, use the effect. Dumping Seahorse, just a good solid extender. Go ahead and link that off into Blue Slug, getting back the Seahorse. Special the Seahorse. And now from here, it's going to look pretty standard combo. We're going to link that away, getting ourselves a Sea Angel, using that card's search effect. We're going to add Dive from our deck to our hand. Then from there, we're going to link those two away into Trusty Old and Faithful. We're going to make our, I believe, Coral Anemone. We might make Splash Mage, just depending, but I think Coral is the play that we're doing here. Nope, we are doing Splash. We just want to get to that Link 4 and keep as much follow-up in our hand as possible, it seems, and draw extra cards through Bubble Reef. No, we are No, yeah, we do commit to the Coral Anemone here. We just weren't sure about that. We do have the Spring Girl, so we already have an extra extender, which is amazing. We're going to special that Spring Girl, trying to work around the Rukalos here. They have not used Kaleido Heart, or sorry, not Kaleido Heart. They've not used Rukalos yet. They're really saving it for that Coral Anemone. I'm not sure if we're even going to use it. We're going to activate Dive here, bringing back the Blue Tang. They're going to let that go as well. They're really just hoping we use that Anemone, pop it, and leave us with nothing. But I think here we have the ability to get into a Link 4 without even triggering that Rukalos, thankfully. So we're going to go ahead and use that to bring it back. They're going to let that go, which is great. Then from there, we're going to just adjust our zones properly, since that was allowed to resolve. And now we're just thinking, what is the main boss that we should climb up into that's going to give us the most longevity that we can have? So we're going to get rid of 2. And that, making Coral Triangle, using Coral Triangle's effect, Coral Anemone to add back first before using Coral Triangle to then add from our deck to our hand. We're going to take Seahorse. Then we're going to use Marincess Blue Tang as the chain block, so that way we were able to resolve the Coral Anemone, guaranteed to have the discard. For Coral Triangle, we'll go ahead and ditch that to get our wave from our deck to hand. And then from there, we're just going to get rid of those 2 into our Bubble Reef. So we just have Bubble Reef plus Wave. Accidentally milled a second card off of Spring Girl here, but it didn't matter. Tactics would have been a crazy draw on our follow-up, but didn't matter. Just a slight misplay there, thinking I used 2 monsters, but Spring Girl actually only mills what you control, so it would be only 1. But we are going to draw with Bubble Reef. We are going to boost it up, making it 3,200. So we have an Imperm and a Dream, and we're just hoping that they don't have enough follow-up here that it's going to matter, since we can hopefully on the crackback then attack over literally whatever we want. So they're just thinking pretty hard here of how they want to sequence it. Thankfully, our Bubble Reef is bigger than the Rukalos. That was really what matters, is just keeping something bigger on the board. They're going to normal the Rhino Heart. We are just definitely going to shotgun the Imperm on that. Our stuff is now unaffected, so if they want to get rid of it, they are forced to go into the battle phase. But it doesn't look like they have the ability to do that. So we're looking like we're in a pretty good position here to clean it up. But they do have Engine. So they can only use 1 engine effect per turn, so they're using the Foolish here. So basically what that means is we have to kill next turn or we're dead. That's really all that's going to happen, is we aren't going to be able to make it. So they're going to dump the Discoliseum, so they have insane follow-up next turn. They're going to dump that Rukalos to defense mode, which is fine because they know that no matter what, Bubble Reef's always going to be at least at 32 since it buffs each turn. We're going to draw. We're going to hit standby phase. We're going to Bubble Reef, dig for another card. Just drawing that extra card every single turn is so good. So good, especially when you have hand traps, extenders, such good cards to dig for out of that as well. So we're just thinking on what our target to banish will be. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the Blue Tang, draw an extra card. And now from here, we have the Sign at Mining. We're going to be able to pretty much clean it up and win the game from here. I didn't want to let it drag on, but it'll pretty much be game because we're going to get enough damage and enough follow-up that it just won't matter from here on out. So we're going to go ahead and just do the Blue Tang combo here. Normal the Blue Tang, use its effect. We're going to go ahead and Foolish. Because they're going to only have Discoliseum. We'll be able to negate that, ideally, on the follow-up. And from there, we have the Imperm for everything else. So we're in a good spot right now. We're going to dump the Sleepy Maiden. Going to banish Pascalis, get Dive back, absolutely insane how everything recurs. We're going to activate the wave, or sorry, the dive to bring back Seahorse. We're really saving Recallus for something, but it's just not going to matter at this point. They're going to go ahead and try to Recallus that, bring it back. They don't have anything else to follow up with, so now we just have an open board to do whatever we want with. So now we can just clean it up. They're on top decks. We're going to go ahead and get the Blue Slug. Blue Slug is going to add the Seahorse. We're going to special the Seahorse to the other zone that we have pointing to with the Bubble Reef. Go ahead and make Sea Angel. Sea Angel is going to search us the field spell from our deck to our hand. And then from there, what we're going to go ahead and do, just checking our grade to make sure we have no other live effects that we want to use. We're going to link those two off into a Splash Mage. Splash Mage is going to bring back the Seahorse. Unfortunately, this board is all water, so we can't Zealantis banish those. They will come back because they are water, so we got to do some other stuff here. We're going to Desires, dig for 2 more. That's pretty much going to wrap it up from there. They're going to see us draw 2. They're going to see us link into Marbled Rock to get more recursion, keep link climbing, and then they're just going to concede, and that's going to wrap it up. So we get the Spring Girl, bring out the Spring Girl. And like I said, link off into Marbled Rock. We're going to have such follow-up that there's nothing they're going to even be able to do at this point. And that's going to wrap up the match. Really tough game, but showcases that this deck can play through tier boards. It can hold its own against tier. You have the flex spots to deal with the meta, so you're going to take advantage of it. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching. Really excited to have this. I'm insanely grateful that this deck has brought me so much success. I'm definitely piloting at my next regional next week. Already happy to get that trophy. I will definitely showcase that when my store gets that in for pickup on Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. With all that said, thank you all again so much. I will see you all in the next one. Later.